We got an Echo PB-250. I found this for free, so I don't have any parts into it, and the recoil here was busted, and then the crankshaft, which this is the old crankshaft, was completely stripped. And upon further investigation, I started turning the flywheel, which is here on the other side. You'll see that later. This had so much resistance, there's no way it would have ever fired. I took it apart, stripped it down, and it turns out this joint here between the tie rod and the crankshaft is frozen solid. Like it's very difficult to move this piston, and this should move freely. So I went to a website which is called Saw Again, and I found this engine block with the crankshaft in it and the cylinder head for 83 bucks. And since again I don't have any money into this thing, that actually made sense for me. Plus I thought it would be fun to try it. That's a little bit of intro. I'm going to be putting this engine block back in and getting this thing running, hopefully. This engine block shipped with a Woodruff key, which is a little half circle key there, and it was really stubborn. I had to oil it with WD-40 a bunch of times and then hit it real hard with a punch. I supported this with a hardwood oak block and pounded the living hell out of this back and forth with oil, and eventually I saw a little bit of movement. So the first thing you had to do was get this damn key out of there. So for this flywheel here, you need to get the key out because it's got its own notch right there at the top. Alright, install the flywheel. This just goes on with the key. Pretty simple. That's what that looks like. Now you gotta thread this piece on. Tighten that with an impact. I'll do it better. I can't hold the wrench and the camera at one time. Now I'm going to pull the plastic orange shroud off. You got to pull the spark plug out and then take all these out. That's the next step. Alright, these are T25, Torque 25, 6 of those biatches. Here's the old spark plug, which I probably should replace as long as I'm doing all this. And now this gets loose and it's ready to come off. Now it looks like that. There is a throttle linkage right up in here. It's going to come out, and then this kind of all comes apart too, but you can see the engine block is starting to become exposed. You got a carburetor here with a priming bulb, and you got a muffler here, and we're going to need to bolt all that along with the heat shield onto the new motor. Alright, more T25s. We're going to take a bunch of these off and take the intake side of the plastic off here. Alright, after several more T25s, it looks like this. Remember, I already pulled the crankshaft off before, so this would have been sitting right here. And then that just comes off with a hex bolt. And as usual, I use my shark bite impact. So basically, now take the flywheel off. Cha-ching, done. This has got some grease in it. I'll probably take a rag and some WD-40 or something and clean that up a little bit. Same with the other side of the blower, which I've conveniently placed in my parts holder here. And 4 more T25s, and we'll remove the inner side of the plastic blower chamber here, and then we'll just pretty much have an engine block and a gas tank. Let's see what happens. Alright, those are out, and they look like this. A little bit different than the shroud, because the shroud bolts because they have to thread into the engine block. Alright, here it is, the little tiny engine that could, off of the plastic BS, and I'm going to disconnect this. That's all that's left. Alright, engine is separated from housing. I'll probably clean that up too. A little bit of greasy. And now we just got to put the old block where the new one is, and put the carb on, put the exhaust on. Again, carb with the intake filter. There's our engine block. There's some heat shrouds and shit like that. Here's a muffler, and there's these plates that came with the engine block actually. So we'll do all that, and everything goes pretty damn easy. This is very easy to work on. I'm used to buying garbage, so this Echo is pretty awesome. I won't say that if it doesn't work. So we'll see what happens. All right, I think I'm gonna do the ignition coil here. It's just 2 bolts. It's gonna go off of the old engine and onto the new engine right here. So we're gonna take that off there, put it on there. All right, there is the ignition coil, and it's got some shit on it. So like I said, I'll probably clean this up. All right, these 2 mounting screws, or this ignition coil has slotted holes right here. And so you kind of have to set this gap. You see there's magnets right here. There's laminated steel magnets. And then you got your other laminated steel magnets right here on the coil side. And you got to kind of set that gap. And the way I decided to do that, I'm sure there's a spec for that, but I don't know what the hell it is. So what I used is this piece of trash that I found. And I cut it, stuck it in there, and then pushed this down on top of there. Stuck that in there like so. Stuck that in there like so, and then pushed it down. This is thicker. This seemed too thin to me. So this is probably 2 or 3 business cards worth, a little bit thicker. And there's a little bit of resistance. When I move this, I can feel the magnets grabbing, but obviously there's no contact in there. So if I have any ignition problems, I can always respace that later, but this kind of feels good to me. All right, ignition in. Now let's work on the muffler. Pretty self-explanatory. We got 2 hexes. Oh shit. We got 2 hexes and probably more T25s. 2 Allens, I should say. Let's pull this shit off. Why am I swearing? Old motor is here. There's an old gasket / heat shield, which looks half metal, half cardboard, something. And then, like I said, the new motor came with this. So we're gonna put that gasket on there, line that up. Here's the muffler. Here's some more, here's the Allen bolts. And I'm gonna throw that in. I need to get a tripod. I don't really feel like destroying and cross-threading my aluminum blocks, so I put these in a few turns by hand. And I'll zip them in with the gun. Next, I will transfer the heat shield with these 2 bolts. Okay, so I found a tripod, so that's great. Now you guys can stop being annoyed. Pull the intake screw off. There's a little, my filter's filthy. Probably reuse it because I'm cheap. Try to clean it or something. And then we got 2 bolts that go all the way through the carb into the engine block right here, and right here. And let me pull those out real quick. Man, this tripod is where it's at. All right, there's that guy. Whoa, there's that guy. Whoa. Of course, the video's gonna get longer now. There we have this cardboard gasket thingy, which again they gave me a new one. And then the carb kind of is hanging here off the tank. I'm just gonna leave that there for now, and kind of deal with this for a second. All right, I'm gonna take these gas tank bolts off now. All right, pause. Damn it. All right, well here's the intake manifold, and I wiped it off, and this is burnt onto the plastic manifold, and I'm gonna scrape it off with a 5-in-1. Damn it, sorry about that gap of time, shit. All right, I actually had to go at this with some WD-40, which you can see my straw there to prove that there's WD-40 here, and my razor scraper. It was much harder than I thought it was going to be, but then again, I was much harder than I thought I was going to be once I got this off. Ho ho! All right, I'm pretty pleased with that in my maybe 2-minute effort. So I have a razor scraper and some WD-40 handy. Whoa. All right, there's the gasket. There's my clean intake. It's going to go back on there like that. I had some bits of gasket in there that I realized are going to get sucked in, so I had to take this back out and clean it. Don't be like me. Clean your intake before you bolt it on and off 3 times. All right, here's my carb. I'm gonna clean this off with a toothbrush that I happen to have in my little tool bucket here. Boom. You can move the throttle cable lever back and forth and get in here like this and get over there like that, and maybe oil these points up a little bit, which I'll do. Might as well. All right, this goes this way, and that took a little bit of research, but you can see an indent from the old carb body, the metal part. If you look at the mating surface of that to that, you can tell that this goes on that way and not that way. So yeah, that goes there, kind of up by the spark plug. I don't know what the point of having the gasket flop out like that is. Maybe cooling or maybe airflow once it's moving, but I'm not an engineer working at Echo in circa 2012, so we'll just do it the way they do it. I'd like to get rid of these goddamn gaskets though. But anyway, it goes like that. All right, there is the intake and the carburetor, and I tested this and cleaned the living hell out of everything. And there's a little choke lever here that I oiled and cleaned, and this thing is as good as new, or as good as it's been in a long freaking time. So that's that, finally. And now I will mount the completed engine assembly to the fuel tank. Again, aluminum, aluminum, aluminum. Don't strip. Don't strip here. If you're going to strip, you do that at home when no one's looking. Or if you're a woman trying to earn your way through college, you do that where everyone's looking. Or back it out first. Just be aware, don't strip aluminum. Please. Please. Alright, finally, this thing is in one manageable piece. That was awkward. Alright, I got my new spark plug. If you can tell which one is new, I will give you a prize. It's this one. That one's new. No, just kidding. Obviously, this one is the new one. So we're going to throw that bad boy in. Damn, this video is getting long. So that's going to go in like so. I'll torque that down later. We got ourselves an engine, ladies and gentlemen. We got ourselves an engine. Alright, and the rest is just reassembling the shroud and the blower and all that easy stuff that you can find elsewhere in other videos. I do have a new filter here. I came prepared, y'all. I came prepared. So I'm going to put that in. I got a new plug, a new filter, and a new engine block. And as long as this carb isn't gummed to living balls, then this thing should run like new. But if not, I bought another carb here too, because the carb is like cheaper to buy new than it is to like have someone clean it these days sometimes. So yeah, there's that.